So World Vision's biggest challenge, there's quite a few challenges, so it's probably quite subjective to choose one. But the thing that exercises my mind mostly is the changing technology environment and how consumers are taking advantage of that, and then our ability to respond to that. I think it's quite possible, and I've worked in organisations where the organisation has gradually become irrelevant because they haven't been able to respond to that technology-driven change. So in World Vision we need to respond to it in quite a few different ways. Not only do our products need to be upgraded, the way we communicate needs to be upgraded, we need to be active on social media, for example. We need to gear up to do that, and that requires a different group of people with the skills to do that. So that's a changing environment externally, which we need to respond to, and means change internally.
In the marketplace, we have seen heightened competition, and I guess what we're trying to do is, while keeping a lid on costs, trying to grow revenue in the face of fairly stiff competition. As a group, we have investments in the car rental sector, which is a highly competitive sector. So making sure that we're able to keep ahead of the game on that one is always a big challenge. In the travel sector, again, a pretty key business for us. What we've seen is reduced domestic tourism, increased offshore tourism, which is good for us, but at the same time a lot of change in terms of technology and people doing it themselves. So they're pretty key parts of our business. And also on the roadside part of the business, there are more new entrants. New cars are more reliable, and there's also more and more technology that's creeping into the car marketplace, with manufacturers able to do remote diagnostics and basically try and keep the relationship with the car owner rather than us having to be involved. So they're really some of the key challenges involved for us at the present time.
If you're talking about those that can be cause for concern, they're more those that are out of our control. I'm less concerned about those things that you mentioned, such as cost-cutting, operational efficiencies within ARIM. I think we've got good processes and procedures in place to deal with those ourselves. In the external factors, it's things like new legislation, the amount of new legislation that's coming through, the regulatory burden that places on companies like ARIM. You mentioned the carbon tax, MRRT. There's a whole host of other regulations coming through in those areas, and they do cause me concern. They impose obligations and significant bureaucratic cost on organisations. The other one that probably keeps me awake is the Australian dollar. The strength of the Australian dollar gives a company like ARIM real challenges, and it's a concern for me that we still have in Australia high real interest rates at a time when it's hard to see that there's any real risk in inflation, and we're at cyclical lows, particularly in the construction industry. So I've had to pick one issue that keeps me awake. It's the state of the Australian dollar.
There are so many macroeconomic factors, both domestic and international, and political factors that are impacting, I think, all organisations within Australia. The reaction of, I think, sort of governments and changing regulation as a result of what we've seen through the GFC. So this is, changes through Basel III and regulation of banks sort of coming through. The combination of all these things are going to have a massive impact on companies in Australia. I think the challenge for all organisations is just to work out how you actually react to those changes as they come through.